go to our commodity of the day, if you like, gold. In fact, gold prices up again more than 1% overnight, having cracked that key resistance level of $1,900 an ounce as it benefited from a weakening US dollar and weakening bond yields in the wake of the easing inflation in the States. So is now the time to buy gold, or into that thematic at least, or perhaps are we a little late in that regard? How far does it have to go? Jun Bei, what are your thoughts?
Look, I think gold is something we always talk to. You need to have a little bit of gold in the portfolio, regardless of the cycle. And if you actually look at the gold volatility across every other, compare that to the technology businesses and everything else, they're the most volatile tech sector. So, you know, when I look at gold, I have a little bit as a diversification. It's never something I've tried to punt which way it's going to go. Now, looking at the performance of gold equity in Australia, last 3 months, it actually has performed incredibly well. It's outperformed its global peers, and it's outperformed the gold price itself in the last 3 months. So, you know, I would say that now that we're heading into quarterly, the December quarterly that's coming in the next few weeks, you know, there is potential for some of those equity to sort of, you know, have a bit of sell-off or stabilization at this point. But over the longer term, I think you should just have, you know, you should always have a gold stock. Stick with the large liquid quality names, because gold is, you know, always a risky, you know, risky commodity to be pulled out of the ground, and highly, you know, it costs a lot of money to do so, and very easily to make mistakes.
So, all right, yeah. So what's your preference on that front? If you're particularly looking at the larger producers then, which one are you liking?
Look, I like quite a few, and I think Phil like a few of them as well. So look, at this point, I have felt that, you know, Newcrest is a good one to position in. It does have a bit of copper in there, you know, so obviously copper price has gone through the roof as well. So, you know, both of these probably will see the result, you know, quarterly will be quite reasonable. And I think it's more larger liquid, and it's more, a little bit more defensive in that sense.
All right. Phil, do you agree?
Look, definitely agree. Gold and gold companies were in the naughty corner 6 to 12 months ago.
Well, it was confounding, wasn't it? Particularly for the gold bugs, because, you know, you see it as an inflation hedge. It didn't transpire.
I blame Bitcoin. It was linked to Bitcoin, not inflation. But clearly, US inflation in particular is on the way down. One thing I've observed, and many people will tell you, gold companies follow the gold price. My personal observation is no one can predict the gold price. I've noticed overnight a lot of broker downgrades from buys to holds because of the share price move. That assumes they can predict where the gold price is going, and frankly I don't believe that they can. But if US inflation keeps falling, it's probably going to go upwards. But for diversification purposes, hold some gold stocks. Preferences for the larger, more liquid ones. Personally, I actually like Northern Star. Circa 14 bill, pays a small dividend. You don't buy a resources company for a dividend, but WA base pays a small dividend, so there's some protection there. But yeah, for diversification reasons, perhaps worth holding some Northern Star. And because it's Friday 13th, and because Shaw and Partners covers it, Black Cat, BC8.
Yeah, why not?
Put out a trading update today. It was positive. Stocks up 4%. Our resources analyst Andrew Hines, it's one of his top picks. So if it's a smaller end, but if you like the more speculative explorer companies, Black Cat.
Well, I was going to ask, so is it worth getting into the explorers at all, or is that, no, you're shaking your head, Jun Bei?
No,
okay, not going there.
Yeah, they'll be very talk about volatility. The sector is volatile, and talk about those little ones. They're very, very volatile. But look, you know, there's a time to buy them. You know, when things are going well, and you know, if you can be on the pulse. You know, so I always. You know, if you're going to buy those speculative ones, you're going to be on the pulse. So you're going to watch how much return you made, and then be very rational. Once you made your money, sell it and move on to something else. It's not something that you buy and hold.
All right. That is the picture of gold. As Jun Bei says, everyone needs just a little bit at least in their portfolio. Okay, so